The stars above were quiet. Nothing moved. No signals. No voices. Only cold silence. But then something changed. Deep inside a broken asteroid field, an old alien ship floated in the dark. Its name was Zarnath's Echo. It had been missing for over 200 years. The galaxy thought it was lost forever. Suddenly, a blinking red light came on inside the control room. The emergency system had finally run out of power, and when it failed, it triggered the last backup, the distress beacon. A message started repeating again and again. This is the Zarnath's Echo. We are stranded. Need help. Life support failing. Signal was weak, slow, and ancient. Most modern systems wouldn't even recognize it. But the message kept going. Into the silence. Inside the ship, cryopods hissed softly. Ice melted. Lights flickered. One of the crew members opened his eyes. His name was Kale. He coughed hard and looked around. The pod next to his had cracked open too. Another crew member, Captain Varel, was waking up. What year is it? Kale asked. Varel checked the system screen. Her face turned pale. We've been asleep for over 2 centuries, she said. The war, it's probably over. Maybe even the Empire fell. They tried to wake the others. Of the 18 cryopods, only 9 still worked. The rest had failed. Their team was gone. Kale ran a systems check. The engines were dead. Shields were gone. Food supplies were nearly empty. Oxygen was running low. We're not going anywhere, he said. But the beacon is working. Maybe someone will find us. Captain Varel didn't look hopeful. She knew how space worked. A weak signal like theirs could be lost forever. But then, something strange happened. Kale's screen lit up with a reply. It wasn't in their language. It was old, harsh, and full of static. But it was clearly a response. What is that? Kale asked. The captain leaned closer. I don't know, she said. This language, it looks human. Kale's eyes widened. Human. But Earth never joined the galactic network. They didn't even have deep space ships back then. Exactly, Virel said. That's why this doesn't make sense, the message repeated. Zarnath's Echo? We received your signal. Help is coming. The crew sat in silence. No one knew what to say. A few hours later, the ship's outer scanners picked up movement. Something large was approaching. At first, they thought it was a comet, but it was moving too slowly, too smoothly. It's a ship, Kale said. The object stopped just outside their view. It was massive, dark, and strange. It had no lights, no engine heat, no identification. It's completely silent, the captain said. No signal, no energy spikes. It's watching us. The alien crew stared at the dark shape in fear. They didn't know if it was friend or enemy. The human-like message came again. Hold position. Do not fear. Is it really human? Kale whispered. Maybe Varel said. But I've never seen a human ship this size. It's not in any records. Then the human ship moved closer just a little. It was still silent. No weapons out. Number. Lights on. It was like a shadow. One of the alien engineers tried to send a reply. He used every known galactic code, but nothing worked. No response came back. Just silence. Then, for a moment, the human ship's lights flickered, once like a signal. Then it went dark again. What was that? Kale asked. I think it's trying to talk to us, Virel said, but it's not using words. Suddenly, the ship's AI, still weak but alive, picked up a strange transmission. It wasn't a message, it was a heartbeat. Yes, the AI confirmed. The human ship is alive. There's someone inside. Captain Varel stood up. If they're really here to help, she said, then we're not alone anymore. But why now? Kale asked. Why would a human ship answer a signal that's been silent for 200 years? That question had no answer. The crew gathered at the main viewing screen and stared into the dark. The unknown ship just floated there, still and quiet, like a ghost from a forgotten past, far in the distance. Another red light blinked. Someone or something had also heard the signal, and it was coming. The alien crew stood silently, staring out at the dark shape floating near them. It was huge, almost 3 times bigger than their own ship. Its surface was black like stone. No windows, no engines, no nameplate, just cold steel and silence. Still no signal? Cale asked. Nothing, said Captain Varel. It's like it doesn't want to be known. The crew called it the ghost ship because it moved without sound, and it had no lights. Only once had it blinked, like a heartbeat, and then gone dark again. Maybe it's just a drone, someone said. Too big, Varel replied, and too smart. It stopped the moment it saw us. Cale sat at the controls, eyes on the strange readings. The human ship had no heat signature, no power leaks, no sign of life. But somehow it was alive. Suddenly the lights on Zarnith's Echo flickered. Their power grid was being drained, systems dropping, to one of the engineers. Oxygen levels falling. It's the human ship, Varel said. It's scanning us. Scanning or attacking? Cale asked. The captain didn't answer. Then the lights returned. Everything came back online. The human ship wasn't stealing power. It was giving it back. Not only that some of their broken systems were now fixed, things that hadn't worked in 200 years were working again. What kind of tech is this? Cale whispered. Before anyone could speak, the unknown ship moved. It didn't use engines. It just drifted closer, like a shadow on ice. The alien crew backed away from the windows. It's too close, one shouted. What if it boards us? But the ship didn't dock. It stopped a few meters away. Then, something detached from it, a small, black pod. It drifted slowly toward them. Weapons were raised. Alarms flashed. Captain Varel raised her hand. No, wait. The pod was smooth, round, and silent. It made no noise as it gently attached itself to the airlock. Should we open it? Cale asked. Not yet, Varel said. Scan it first. The scan showed no explosives, no weapons, no signs of danger. Inside was a strange box, small silver, glowing. A drone. They brought it into the ship. Carefully. Slowly. When they placed it in the center of the control room, it activated. A small screen popped up. On it words in ancient Earth language. Cale read them out loud. You are not alone. Gasps filled the room. The screen shifted again. Maps appeared showing star systems long forgotten, safe routes through destroyed war zones. Then images of Earth, not as a weak planet, but one full of fire, building massive ships underground. What is this? Cale said. This isn't the Earth we knew. Captain Varel stared at the screen. They never died, she said. They just disappeared. They went silent. On purpose. But why? One crew member asked. The screen showed more. It displayed a project name, Project Ark Voyager. The crew watched as Earth's history unfolded how after the Galactic War, Earth chose to leave, hiding its survivors in deep space ships. Ships like the one now outside. The ghost ship. A voice suddenly came from the drone soft. Calm and human, do not be afraid. We heard your call. We were made to help. The crew stared in shock. It was the first voice they had heard from the unknown ship. Is it real? Cale whispered. Yes, Varel said. And it chose us. But not everyone was hopeful. The ship's AI picked up something else, far in the distance. Another ship was coming. Not human, not friendly. The AI warned them. Others have heard your signal. They are not here to help. Captain Varel looked at the screen, then at her crew. We need to decide, she said. Do we trust the humans or face the cold alone? The drone blinked again. This time a new sentence appeared. Help only comes to those who accept it. Outside, the nameless human ship waited, still watching, still silent. But now it was ready. The cold silence returned. The strange human ship still floated nearby, dark and quiet. The drone it sent remained in the control room of Zarnith's Echo, blinking slowly like a heartbeat. But now, something was wrong inside the alien ship. Very wrong. The crew hadn't eaten real food in days. Their last rations had been used up. The backup hydro garden was dead. The oxygen was low. Tensions were high. Kale sat on the floor, weak, holding a protein pack that was half fratten. Almost threw up. We can't last. Like this, he said. Captain Varel stood near the main console, face tight with worry. The human ship sent us maps, but no food. Maybe it doesn't know we're starving. Kale looked up at the blinking drone, or maybe it's testing us. Suddenly a loud thud echoed from deep below the control room. Metal groaned. Then silence. Everyone froze. "What was that?" whispered one of the engineers. The sound came. A-G-A-I-N-T-H-U-D. Thud. Thud. Something was moving in the lower decks. "That area's been sealed for years," Varel said. "Sealed?" Kale asked. She nodded slowly. "There were things down there. From the war, experiments we weren't allowed to speak about. We locked it. It was supposed to never open." The ship's AI flickered weakly. "Warning," it said. "Detected on lower levels. Unknown life forms active." The crew grabbed tools and light weapons. Their hearts raced. They opened the door to the lower corridor slowly. The air was thick and cold. Lights flickered. Pipes leaked mist. The hallway was dark. Kale led the way, holding a scanner. The readings made no sense. "Whatever it is," he said, "it's alive. And it's big." They moved slowly, step by step. Then they reached a large metal door. On it was a warning in old alien script, "Do not open." But something had already torn it open from the inside. Deep scratch marks lined the frame. The lock was broken from the inside out. "It got out," whispered a crew member. Suddenly, something moved in the shadows. A long arm, pale skin, too many. Joints, sharp fingers, it vanished before anyone could fire. The crew screamed. 2 members ran. One tripped and was pulled into the dark. "No," Kale shouted. Screams echoed. Then silence. Captain Varel fired her blaster into the dark. Nothing. Then the voice from the drone, turned this time loud and direct. "Your ship is not safe. You must leave. We will help, but we can't." Kale shouted, "Engines are dead." The human ship outside responded with action. Its lights blinked 3 times. Then a small docking tunnel extended silently from its side, connecting to Zarnith's Echo. "They want us to come," Varel said. "But what about the others?" Kale asked. "One of us is still down there." More thudding sounds came from below. Faster. Closer. The creature was coming back. Kale looked at the captain. "We need to decide." Varel made the call. "Everyone to the airlock." Now they ran. Behind them, the metal floors shook. As they entered the tunnel, one last cry echoed behind them. The missing crew member was gone. They entered the human ship hand. Everything changed. Inside, the air was warm, clean, full of oxygen. Lights turned on, soft and white. But the ship was empty. No humans, only machines. A voice echoed around them. "You are safe now, but the hunger is not gone." It followed. "Your signal." The screen in front of them showed the alien ship from the outside. Something had burst from the hull. A creature, tall, thin, sharp, hungry. It let out a silent scream and vanished into space. Captain Varel stepped back in shock. "It was never locked in," she said. "It was waiting." Kale stared at the screen. "And now it knows we're still alive." The door of the human ship sealed behind them. Kale, Captain Varel, and the surviving crew stood in silence. The air inside the ship was warm and fresh. It smelled clean to clean. There were no chairs, no signs of life, no footsteps, no walls with writing, just smooth black metal and soft white light glowing from above. And then a drone that had first entered Zarnith's Echo floated back into view, but now it was different. Its silver body glowed blue. Small wings unfolded from its side. Soft hum filled the room. Then it spoke, not in words but in perfect translation. Each crew member heard the message in their own mind, clear and calm. "We are sorry for your loss. The hunger was not meant to survive." Kale looked around. "Who are you? Where are the humans?" The drone paused. "They are gone," but not dead. This ship is their legacy, built to search and save. Captain Varel stepped forward. He said the hunger followed our signal. What is it? The drone turned slowly. A screen appeared on the wall. It showed a strange image, blurry and shaking. Ka, a creature with long limbs, thin arms, and eyes that glowed. It was created during the last days of war, not by humans, by the Dominion. Dominion? Kale asked. They were wiped out. Not all of them, the drone answered. They built monsters in secret. Weapons that fed on fear, heat, and thought. One of those monsters was on your ship. Varel lowered her eyes. And now it's free. Yes, the drone said. It has tasted life again. It will hunt until it feeds or dies. Went silent then. The drone did something strange. It split open. Inside was a glowing orb, pulsing with light. This is a thought core, it explained. A key to memory, knowledge, and control. You will need it. Kale stepped forward. What? To guide this ship? To help us find the creature? And stop it, before it reaches others. Captain Varel shook her head. You want us to fly this thing? Yes, the voice said. The ship has no crew, only you. It will listen to the one who holds the thought core. Kale picked it up. It was warm almost, like it was alive. As soon as he touched it, his vision filled with strange symbols, maps, and images of stars he had never seen. He gasped. I can see everything. Varel turned to him. What do you see? Kale closed his eyes. Hunger is moving, fast. It found an old cum station on a dead moon. It's using it to send a signal. The drone's voice became serious. It is calling others. It's not just more of its kind, but anything that listens. Pirates, scavengers, warlords. Kale nodded. Then we have to stop it. Captain Varel looked at the others. Are we ready? Crew stood silent, tired, scared, but still breathing. Kale placed the core into a slot in the ship's wall. The ship hummed. Lights brightened. Its panels opened. The engines came alive, quiet but powerful. The entire floor vibrated with energy. Then the ship spoke, not through the drone, not through the walls, but directly into their minds. Welcome, new crew. Destination locked. Dead Moon Station. Mission: intercept the hunger. The human ship turned toward the distant stars and launched. Faster than anything they'd ever felt. Faster than light. In seconds, the stars blurred. Captain Varel held the wall, steadying herself. Let's hope we're not too late. Behind them, floating in the darkness, Zarnath's echo drifted alone, silent and broken. And inside its ruined halls, something waited, something that was still hungry, to be continued. The human ship glided through deep space, fast, smooth, and quiet. Inside, Kale sat with his eyes closed, one hand resting on the glowing thought core. He could feel the ship's systems like they were part of him. Lights, engines, sensors all. Linked to his mind, Captain Varel stood beside him. How close are we? Kale opened his eyes. Almost there. The hunger is already on the moon station, and it's sending out signals. Is it calling for help? Varel asked. Kale nodded. Worse, it's calling for prey. The ship exited light jump just above a dead gray moon. Broken satellites floated around it. The station was built inside a deep crater, half buried. In dust and rock from above, it looked like a grave. Lights flickered weakly inside the station. But the air was toxic, cold, and thin. No place for normal life. Yet the hunger was alive there. Waiting, the human ship stopped in orbit. Then the voice returned, calm, deep and direct. Warning. Life form detected. Station has been infected. Proceed with caution. Captain Varel looked at Kale. We'll need to go down. He nodded. I'll go with you. The ship says it can't enter the station. Too dangerous. Varel turned to the crew. Suit up, we're landing. The landing craft touched down softly in the crater dust. The crew stepped out in full suits, lights glowing in the darkness. They moved slowly toward the broken station doors. Inside, everything was dead, walls covered in old blood. bent metal, burnt wires, the remains of a long-abandoned war outpost. "It's colder than I thought," Cale said. Varel checked her scanner. "I'm not picking up the hunger." Then the drone, floating beside them, whispered, "It's hiding. It hears us." Suddenly, the station's lights came on. A loud, screeching sound filled the air. Doors slammed shut behind them. "Trap." Someone yelled. Cale spun around, raising his tool weapon. "Stay together." From the ceiling, something dropped. Thin, long arms. Black skin. Too fast, it grabbed one crew member and vanished into a side tunnel. "Go," Varel shouted, "before it takes more." They ran through the narrow halls, following the signal from the thought core. It pulsed stronger as they moved deeper underground. Finally, they reached the control room. Inside, a tall, black shape turned slowly toward them. The hunger, its body looked like melted bone. Its face had no mouth, only long slits that opened and closed. Like breathing gills, it didn't attack, it just stood and watched. Then it spoke, not with words, but with sound. Screams from 100 voices, voices of the dead. The lost, the eaten. The crew covered their ears. Some fell to the floor. Cale stepped forward. The thought core in his chest glowed bright. The screams stopped. The hunger tilted its head, curious. Cale raised the core high. The drone behind him translated his thoughts into sound. "We are not afraid of you," the creature hissed. Cracked, the floor shook. It charged. Cale threw the core forward, slammed into the creature's chest, and exploded in white light. The hunger screamed not with stolen voices, but its own. It fell back. The human ship above fired a thin beam. Down from orbit, pure energy. It pierced the roof of the station and hit the creature through the blast hole. The hunger began to melt, screeching, burning, gone. Silence returned. Back on the ship, the crew sat in the healing room, quiet and tired. Cale held the cracked core in. His hands, "It's broken," he said. "But it did what it needed to do," Varel replied. The ship's voice spoke once again. "Threat removed, but others remain. Will you continue?" Varel looked at her crew and nodded. Double quotes, "Yes, will. Keep going." Cale looked out the window, toward the stars. "We're not alone anymore," he said. "And now they know we're alive." The human ship flew silently through a frozen part of space. Stars were far apart. Shadows were long. Felt like the universe was holding its breath. Cale stood near the front window. He stared at a glowing red dot in the distance. "That's it," he said. "That's where the signal came from." Captain Varel stepped beside him. "Are you sure?" Cale nodded slowly. "The hunger we destroyed, it wasn't the only one. There's something else. Something buried, waiting." The ship's voice echoed around them. "Location, Planet Zeros. Atmosphere thin. Surface unstable. Warning, no known survivors." The planet was small. It's half covered in red lava and half in thick ice. "It looked like a world ripped in two," Varel whispered. "A graveyard," Cale added. "A grave of fire and ice." As the ship entered orbit, a strange signal reached them. It was broken, full of static, but clear enough to hear one word. Cale froze. "Did you hear that?" The signal repeated. "Help, please." Cold Varel looked shocked. "Someone is alive," Cale said slowly. "Something is pretending to be." They landed on the ice side of the planet. The cold outside was beyond deadly metal. Cracked from just touching the air, the landing gear froze the moment it touched ground. Still, Cale, Varel, and a small team stepped out in reinforced suits. The air was thick with dust and mist. Wind whispered like voices. They followed the signal to a tall, broken tower made of black stone. It pulsed with energy inside. They found machines long dead. Bones covered in frost. And in the center, a figure tall, thin, frozen. Its eyes glowed blue. Cale scanned it. No heartbeat, no brain activity, but it's standing. Suddenly its eyes blinked. Then it spoke. "You are not the first." Varel raised her weapon. What are you? The figure's body cracked as it moved. Its voice was slow and dry. I was once alive now. I wait. The hunger left me here. As a warning, Kale stepped closer. A warning for what? The figure raised one hand. It grows. It learns. It copies. Then it screamed. Not loud but sharp like metal. Tearing inside your skull. All lights in the tower went out. The team turned to run, but the door had vanished. Walls shifted. They were inside a maze. Kale grabbed the drone. This isn't real. It's showing us what it wants. Varel closed her eyes. It's in our minds again, like before Kale focused. Reached out with the cracked thought, core still inside his chest armor. He whispered, show me truth. Illusion shattered. They were back in the frozen tower but now. They saw the truth. The figure was not standing. It was hanging like a puppet held up by thin black strings, moving from the walls and ceiling. The hunger was using it, controlling it, above them. The ceiling split open. A massive eye stared down, not one of a creature, but of a machine. A living weapon. The hunger had built a ship, not to escape, but to spread. Kale turned to the drone. Can we destroy it? Not from here, but the human ship has one last weapon. It has never been used. Captain Varel didn't wait. Call it now. Up in orbit, the human ship's core began to glow. Its voice became quiet. Final strike, preparing. Bright light gathered at its center. On the planet below, the tower shook. The machine eye tried to close, but it was too late. A beam of white-hot energy fired down from space. It hit the tower with the force of a star. The ice exploded. The fire boiled. The grave was burned clean. Back inside the ship, Kale and the others returned shaken but alive. Captain Varel looked out the window. The planet below was breaking apart. Was that the last of them? Someone asked. Kale looked at the core. No, he said. There are more. He turned to Varel. But now, we know how to stop them. Space looked strange here. The stars were wrongsome, were too bright. Others didn't move. Whole sections of sky flickered like broken glass. Kale stood near the ship's front display. This isn't just space. Something here is fake. Captain, Varel narrowed her eyes. The ship calls it the Broken Starfield. The voice of the human ship echoed through the walls. This region was once a testing ground. Human minds were trained here against illusions, traps, and fear weapons. Now, something else controls it. Kale turned to the others. If the hunger wants to spread, this is the perfect place to hide. A field of fake stars and twisted space. No one comes here. The ship slowed. Outside, debris floated everywhere. Old wrecks, destroyed probes, broken satellites, and frozen bodies. Looks like a battlefield, Varel whispered. Kale's eyes focused on a distant object. That looks like another human ship. Approached it slowly. The ship was shaped like a spear, long, dark, and cracked in the center. Kale read the marking. It's called the Aegis, last launched 100 years ago. No record of return? Varel frowned. Then what is it doing here? As they docked and boarded, the air inside was stale but still breathable. Lights flickered weakly. Strange. Symbols glowed on the walls, human writing, but twisted. It's been rewritten, Kale said. The ship's mind was taken. Right. Deep inside the Aegis, they found something terrifying. Rows of stasis pods, hundreds of them. Each one held a human frozen. In time, Kale's hand shook. They're alive. Varel looked over the systems. Not fully there. Asleep, but not dreaming. Then a screen turned on by itself. The hunger symbol appeared. A black eye. They dreamed once, said a voice. Not the ship. Not the drone. But their minds were soft. We took what we needed. Now, we wait. The lights went red. Warning alarms screamed. Kale shouted, "It knows we're here." A new figure stepped out of the shadows. A human, or something that. Used to be its skin was gray, its eyes empty, its smile too wide. I was the first to see the hunger, it said softly. Now I show others. Kale raised his weapon. Back away. But the figure didn't move. It just stared. Then the pods began to open. One by one, people stepped out silent, eyes glowing, faces blank. Varel shouted, "Get out!" Now. They ran. Kale tossed a small device behind him, explurked and exploded, slowing the figures as they reached the docking bay. The human ship opened its doors and pulled them in. The enemy didn't follow. Not yet. Back aboard, Kale gasped. For breath. It's not just about feeding. Viral looked shaken. All those people? They're not dead. But they're not alive either. The drone floated in front of them. You saw now why the humans vanished. They didn't die in war. They chose to hide their ships, their tech, their minds. They knew. The hunger couldn't be stopped, only slowed. Kale looked at the drone. Then why are we still fighting? The drone replied softly. Because you are not human, but you carry their legacy. And now, you must decide what they couldn't. The ship's voice returned. New coordinates found. Final source of signal. It leads. Beyond mapped space. Captain Varel stood tall, set a course. Kale nodded. Let's end this. As the ship turned and prepared for its final journey behind them, the broken starfield flickered one last time. In the center, inside the Aegis, a single pod stayed closed. But now, it started to crack. Something inside opened its eyes and smiled. The stars were gone. No light, no color, just black. The human ship moved slowly, carefully, through a part of space where even time felt broken. There was no gravity, no sound, no up or down. Kale stood at the front window. We're beyond the map. Captain Virel nodded. Even the ship doesn't know what's out here. The voice of the ship was quiet, almost unsure. No records exist. This region was erased by the First War, or hidden on purpose. Kale looked at the cracked thought core in his chest. This is where the hunger came from, isn't it? As the drone floated forward. Yes, before it spread, before it fed, it was born here. Suddenly, the ship stopped. Not because it wanted to, because something held it in place. Ahead of them was a shape, a black metal sphere, the size of a planet. No doors, no lights. Virel whispered, "What is that?" Kale stared. The hunger's nest. Without warning, a signal pierced the silence. Welcome, last ones. We have waited. The ship trembled, lights dimmed. Inside Kale's mind, voices screamed. 1,000 minds? 1,000 deaths? Then it was gone. Kale fell to his knees, gasping. It's speaking inside us. The drone shivered. The hunger is not one creature. It's a memory. A weapon built from pain, fear, and knowledge taken. From others, Varel whispered, "Can we kill it?" Kale stood up slowly.
No.
But we can shut it down. The ship opened its final weapon bay. Inside was a device never used. A star-dash seed, built by ancient humans. Not to explode, but to erase. It would wipe all thought, energy, and data in a region.
Ow.
No screams, no copies, no second chances. Pure silence, Kale. Held it in his hands. We need to get it inside the sphere. Virel shook her head. There's no door. Kale looked at the core. I don't need one. He stepped into the launch chamber. The drone hovered beside him. Are you sure? Kale nodded. I was made for this. He was not fully human. He was a carrier of the last thought core, blend. Of flesh and machine. Mind and weapon. A key. The launch door opened. Kale shot forward in a small pod straight toward the black sphere as he neared it. The surface melted away, revealing a dark opening. It wanted him to come inside. Inside the sphere, there was no floor, only floating platforms. Twisted shapes, glowing veins of red light, and in the center a pulsing brain. Made of metal and bone, the true core of the hunger. It saw Kale. It remembered him. You are like them, it said, but not the same. You think you are strong. You are soft. Kale held up the starseed. Then let me show you what softness can do. He threw it. The core screamed on the human ship. Alarms rang. Captain Varel saw. The sphere began to shake. Then light, pure white light burst from inside. The sphere cracked, split, and folded into itself. No explosion. Just a sudden silence. The ship drifted free. Later, the human ship hovered near a quiet star. Kale was gone, but his voice remained. The drone played his last message. If you're hearing this, then we made it. The hunger is gone.
Ow.
But others will rise. So we must remember why we fight, not to win, but to protect. Even in the coldest parts of space, we're not alone. Virel closed her eyes. The crew stood in silence. Then the ship spoke one last time. Coordinates received. A new signal, a new beginning. They turned toward the stars and went forward. The end.